Why isn't there a real Santa Claus? For kids like that.
What am I supposed to be, some kind of philosopher? You know what your trouble is, Corwin? You let that dopey red suit go to your head. What are you, some kind of a nut?
Happy holidays from the Fifth Dimension. Our Twilight Zone Marathon Reviews continues, and today we'll be checking out one of the most beloved episodes of Twilight Zone, The Night of the Meek. Directed by Jack Smite, Night of the Meek was episode 11 from season 2, and it was written by Rod Serling. As always, spoilers are ahead.
This is Mr. Henry Corwin, normally unemployed, who once a year takes the lead role in the uniquely popular American institution, that of the department store Santa Claus, in a road company version of The Night Before Christmas. But in just a moment, Mr. Henry Corwin, ersatz Santa Claus, will enter a strange kind of North Pole, which is one part the wondrous spirit of Christmas and one part the magic that can only be found in the Twilight Zone.
Our story opens on Christmas Eve. A very panicked store manager anxiously awaits the arrival of his seasonal department store Santa. And where is old Saint Nick? We find our very inebriated Santa slumped over in a bar. He's dressed for the part, but his traditional suit looks like it's seen better days. Off the bat, it's clear we're in for a unique take on a Christmas story, even by Twilight Zone standards. Our downtrodden Santa, whose real name is Henry Corwin, is played exceptionally well by one of my favorites, Carney. After being tossed out by the bartender, Henry stumbles into the street and is approached by some neighborhood kids. However, these kids have more than just toys on their Christmas list.
Oh, please, Santa Claus, a job for my daddy.
This is a powerful and emotional moment. Henry is noticeably shaken as he hugs them and cries. So, the stage is set. We have our unlikely lead, and we realize he lives in a neighborhood gripped by poverty, and he knows all too well what these kids are going through. Henry eventually shows up to work, an hour late and still drunk. Needless to say, Mr. Dundee is enraged, but he allows Henry to do his thing. Of course, it's a disaster.
Look, Mom, Santa Claus is loaded!
After Henry makes a spectacle of himself, his manager fires him. It's here that we get more insight into Henry. Sure, he's drunk, but he's apologetic, and he's ashamed of himself. And even though he's under the influence, he still has his senses when it comes to the holiday season and the state of the world. He states he drinks because he lives in a dirty rooming house on a street filled with hungry kids and shabby people. Henry clearly isn't a guy who can ignore the suffering of those around him. Henry tries to return to the bar, but he's not welcome there either. So he stumbles into an alley where he hears sleigh bells. A cat knocks over a garbage bag full of empty cans. After hearing the mysterious sleigh bells once again, he discovers the bag of trash has somehow been turned into a bag of gifts. Finally, a ray of light. Henry wastes absolutely no time. He's overjoyed. He heads straight to the mission house and begins giving the gifts away. Interestingly, as he gives them away, he realizes the bag can provide anything that people ask for. Now, since this is pretty out of the ordinary and suspicious, Sister Florence reports Henry to Officer Flaherty. He suspects Henry has stolen the gifts from the department store. Henry is hauled off to the police station, but he explains the mysterious bag is supernatural. Right on cue, Mr. Dundee shows up to make matters worse. In a comedic moment, he reaches into the bag to retrieve the supposed stolen items, but all he finds are empty cans and a cat. Obviously, Mr. Dundee doesn't have the magic touch, or an ounce of Christmas spirit. He's sort of the Grinch of this story. Predictably, he accuses Flaherty of screwing up. He even scoffs at the officer, who by this point is convinced Henry's bag is supernatural. With that, a challenge is made. Mr. Dundee sarcastically asks Corwin to go into the bag and find him a nice bottle of cherry brandy, vintage 1903.
Oh, that's a good year.
Challenge accepted. There you go, Mr. Dundee. And you know what? I think this guy needs a drink anyway. Henry is then set free and off on his merry way.
You right here.
Electric train engine!
Electric train engine, diesel or steam?
I don't care!
He continues his gift-giving spree until midnight, when the bag is finally empty and he couldn't be happier. A man from earlier points out that Henry hasn't received a gift. But Henry says that if he had his choice of any gift at all, it would be that he could do this every year. Henry then heads back to the alley and finds an elf, a sleigh, and some reindeer, just waiting for him. So the kind-hearted Henry Corwin got his wish. He's the new Santa Claus. To seal the deal that this isn't some fantasy, we even see Flaherty and Dundee look up into the sky and witness Henry flying off Santa style. They may be tipsy from Henry's cherry brandy, but even they can't deny a man coasting off into the night with 8 reindeer is obviously a miracle.
A word to the wise to all the children of the 20th century, whether their concern be pediatrics or geriatrics, whether they crawl on hands and knees and wear diapers or walk with a cane and comb their beards. There's a wondrous magic to Christmas, and there's a special power reserved for little people. In short, there's nothing mightier than the meek.
Night of the Meek is a great episode. It's a warm, uplifting Christmas story, ideal for the holiday season. And it really is beloved. You'd be hard-pressed to find many Twilight Zone fans who don't enjoy this. And that's good, because Rod Serling, whose birthday, by the way, is December 25th, always wanted to write a Christmas story. In fact, he put his own spin on A Christmas Carol in a 1964 TV movie that featured Peter Sellers.
They want to talk about our problems. They want to debate.
But Night of the Meek, that's the one that gets all the attention. Where did the inspiration for this unique tale come from? In an interview with TV Guide, Rod Serling stated that he got the idea while watching the Santa Claus parade. He noted that one of the guys must have been a last-minute replacement. The suit didn't fit very well at all and looked as if it had been dredged out of a canal. The thought came to him, what would happen if one of these guys suddenly found out he really was Santa Claus? As we all know, drunken or disorderly Santas are a Hollywood tradition. So where does this Twilight Zone's version of a drunk Santa rank among the many infamous versions of Saint Nick? I think it's safe to say the big-hearted Henry Corwin is a standout. Initially, Henry may come off as a down-and-out, irresponsible alcoholic. We even see him try to swipe some booze early on. But thankfully there's nuance to his character, and we learn that by hearing him meditate on the sad state of the world and the adversity of those less fortunate. And we also see this goodness in him through his actions. When Henry is given the chance to give back to those most in need, he quickly does so. But the fact that Henry is obviously a flawed person is what hooked me. It's relatable. Henry may be down and out, but there isn't a sour bone in his body, and he doesn't double down when he's in the wrong. Quite the contrary, he's ashamed and apologizes for the way he is. There's depth and richness in Serling's dialogue, but it's all brought to life by Art Carney. He's excellent here. His comic timing is put to good use, but we also get to see his acting chops as well. Playing a drunk is one of those things that can really backfire, but Carney pulls it off. Granted, he plays it up as a sloppy drunk early on, but once the story pivots and he finds the mysterious bag, he really shines. In fact, my favorite scene in Night of the Meek takes place after the discovery of the bag.
How about you, sir? What size?
Who cares what size?
It's pretty magical. Henry basically sobers up, is reinvigorated, and bursting with life. And more importantly, he's as happy as ever to finally bring some joy to those around him. That speaks volumes about who he is deep down inside. Henry displays kindness, charity, and love for his neighbors. These are all ingredients that encapsulate the spirit of Christmas. In the end, when his wish comes true and he becomes Santa Claus, it's a cheerful moment, and it's well earned. He gets to go on doing what he loves. Night of the Meek isn't like most other Twilight Zones. There's no villainous character who gets his comeuppance, and the twist isn't dark and ominous. Instead, it's a positive twist, and it offers up a message of joy and hope. I'd say the conclusion could even work as an origin to Santa. As good as Art Carney was here, I'll still always think of him as Norton from the classic 50s sitcom The Honeymooners, a show I used to stay up late to watch in reruns as a kid. Interestingly, The Twilight Zone wouldn't be Art Carney's last appearance in the holiday special. We Star Wars fans also know him from the infamous Star Wars Holiday Special. There's one other cool bit of trivia I wanted to mention, and it relates to the department store manager, Mr. Dundee, as played by John Fiedler. He has a career that spans 55 years. He's famous for 12 Angry Men and The Bob Newhart Show, but he was also the voice of Piglet in Winnie the Pooh.
What was that, Pooh? My tummy rumbled.
And that works out really well, because the Twilight Zone episode, What's in the Box, featured Sterling Holloway, the voice of Winnie the Pooh.
Well, you can't win them all.
Night of the Meek hits all the right notes. It's a sentimental little tale. This is a perfect watch for the holiday season. I'd rate Night of the Meek 5 out of 5 Cheery Santas. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you've seen Night of the Meek, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Until next time, be well, take care, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year.